And welcome back to Janky AF and Year of the Aerostar, episode number 67. Well, you can see for starters right off the bat here, I have my red sweater on, which means this Aerostar is red in color, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Janky do thank you to Crease Smirt. We've had some great Aerostar correspondences, and I was sent this. And I love that I have the pleasure of, all these Aerostar spotters out there sending me vehicles, and it keeps me on my toes, and I sort of, meander down the river wherever it takes me, and boy, am I glad to have landed here right now. So I've teased it quite a bit, and let's get to it, shall we? Here we have a 1993 Ford Aerostar, listed for $2,000, only $2,000 that is, in South Bend, Indiana, the Hoosier State, so it would make sense that this is red. Wow, okay, this was the first picture on the listing, which proves to me that this seller knows, they know what's up, because they are clearly advertising the interior before they advertise the exterior. And if you've watched this program before, perhaps you've seen the other red interior episode that I did. The red interior to me on the Ford Aerostar is an absolute, total dream machine. It's fairly rare, very rare. We've only done one other red exterior. Now, in my previous Aerostar career of doing Instagram and just looking at them, out of, obsession unrelated to sort of media content, I did come across a few. They're out there, but very, very rare. And it seems like most of the red ones I've seen, anecdotally, the condition of them seems to be very good. The headliners all look good on them. The seats don't look dirty. The carpets don't look dirty. Now, maybe they hold dirt a little bit better than the grays and the tans. That could be true. But it's almost as if people who have a red interior know they got something special, and they take care of it. Now, I think the red interior was somewhere around maybe 92 to 94. I would be willing to guess that it didn't last too long. It seems like an early to mid-90s thing, I think by 96, 97, they didn't offer it. But I could be wrong about that. Again, it's very anecdotal evidence. But this is 93, so right in that sweet spot. And I guess we'll get to the specs of this vehicle, and then we'll, go through the images and talk a little bit more about it. So, about this vehicle, driven 132,000 miles, not bad at all. Automatic transmission, exterior color red, interior color red, fuel type gasoline. And then the seller's description, 1993, red on red Ford Aerostar. Let's see how many times I can say the word red during this program. 132,000 miles, and it will go up as I drive it. Loud exhaust, clean interior, just put a new fuel pump and filter. Blower motor doesn't work, so no AC or heat unless van is moving. Front windows don't roll down. And the last line, most importantly, as far as I'm concerned, open for trades. So, I might put a little poll in here and ask people if I should trade my 1995 Buick LeSabre for this car or offer it up as a trade. Now, I have quite a bit more invested than $2,000 into my Buick. However, considering the rarity of this car, if I could, put transportation costs into that price, hard to pass up. Now, I have said also on this program that my dream is to own an Aerostar from every model year, 1986 to 1997. The tricky part for this one is it's a 1993, and my green Calypso, is it Calypso? I've forgotten at the moment. Green Aerostar is also a 1993, my Sport. And boy, what a difference in specs for those cars. Now imagine if you could get that teal, deep, dark, greenish blue Aerostar with a red interior. Wouldn't that be just amazing? I think that would actually look quite good. and you might submit it as a candidate for that worst spec Instagram channel, but I happen to like a lot of the cars on that channel. I will say, photographically, just wonderful picture. And you know, you have this line down here, which is like really just the bench seat. And this is somewhat of a wide-angle lens, but this line, this sort of diagonal that it creates, almost looks as if the picture is like cropped in an interesting way. And I just gotta say, this is an absolutely stunning photo. I really, really like this picture. This will probably be another. You know, you can just see it's outlined perfectly here with this line in your headliner down to the edge of your seats. This will probably be my YouTube thumb. The other thing I'll say, some very interesting cars in the yard here. This looks like a, this might be a Mercury Capri. I thought it was a Miata at first, but I think this might be a Mercury Capri from 91 to 94. Not the ones that look like Mustangs, but the Australian-built front-wheel drive ones. Another favorite car of mine of all time. And we have a nice little Ford Ranger here. Very interesting cars in the background here. Look at this. We have a teal. This is probably that same Calypso green. A teal Windstar, first generation Windstar. So just as an aside here, and then an F-150. So, you know, if that is indeed a Capri, we have all, you know, FOMOCO, Ford Mercury vehicles here. So it seems like, you know, maybe this is like a brand loyalist or some sort of collector. And of course, back to your another interior shot here. So let's look at the exterior, okay? Now here's the other amazing thing about this vehicle. This listing is absolutely incredible. Look, you see some nice clear coat fade here. You can see the red sun visor in there. And I just, you know, the last red interior Aerostar we saw was red on the exteriors as well. So this red on red theme is just like something else. It's like, I believe I've seen a white one with a red interior, and that actually looked really, really cool because you almost weren't expecting it. But the red on red, certainly. You know, Aerostar specs are very similar to Corvette specs. You know, I'm always comparing the Aerostar to a sports car. And sports cars, for whatever reason, like the exterior interior combinations are very, very interesting. I mean, you'll see it huge price premiums too. I think the Porsche 911s in the Ocean Jade Metallic, or there was even a Boxster, I think that was like Ocean Jade Metallic with like teal or green seats or blue seats. And those very rare exterior interior color combinations actually can be huge price premiums. And for Aerostars, it's the same for me, like white over red. You know, I think about like the Corvette, you know, like a red interior on a Corvette was always a really cool thing, or a white interior on a Corvette. So a red on red is like, if you've ever seen a C4 Corvette that's red on red, just, oh, outstanding. So a red on red Aerostar, very, very nice. Clear coat fade, as I said. Now look at this. Let's zoom in here. And this is some Aerostar sleuthing. What does that look like to you? Okay, viewer at home. Now it could be like a turn signal like we just saw in that European Italian wood panel example, and please go watch that if you haven't watched that. That was a real belle of the ball. But this looks to me, as we see in this extremely grainy photo that I can't zoom in anymore on, like an all-wheel drive badge, or an electronic four-wheel drive badge to be more precise. Now, given that this is a standard length model, and the last red on red example we saw was an extended model, and I kind of like the extended in the red on red, but this is certainly wonderful as well. Being a standard length, red on red, all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive Aerostar, the shorty, as we call the standard length, Aerostars in the four-wheel drive configuration are already super rare. Combine that with a red interior Aerostar, and this thing is like real unicorn territory. I mean, how many of these are even still in existence in the world? An all-wheel drive, standard length with red interior. I mean, that is just crazy if it is indeed a four-wheel drive model, and it certainly looks to be here. So, and you know, for the price point, you really got, you know, someone should scoop this up immediately and really preserve it. Like this I'm very like almost what's the word, protective over this vehicle. Like I don't want to just see this get used and abused or turn into a cheap work van or something like that. Normally I'm not elitist at all in terms of like, you know, just buy the Aerostar, use it. That's what it's meant for. But with this one, it's such an incredibly rare combination that I feel like someone who's buying it should at least like sort of appreciate the history and rarity of this vehicle. Now we do see some molding, plastic molding, interior molding that has sort of warped and started to disfigure a little bit. That's very normal. My 86 Aerostar, the whole thing is like, you know, it looks like a, if you've ever been to that park in Barcelona, that Güell Park, that Gaudí design, you know, it's like this sort of Dr. Seuss crazy curves and everything's very organic, and that's what my interior on my 86 looks like. Which, you know, along with the front and rear bumper covers, those were like two of the biggest weak points on the Aerostar. But again, if those are your biggest weak points on the vehicle, then you're probably doing something right, because everywhere else it seems to be holding up really, really well. So again, you have both of your bench seats, you have your red carpet. I mean, just red head to toe. It's crazy how the little plastic track here on your step up, and I don't mention this a lot on the Aerostars, but it's great how it has a built-in step up, you know. Very easy to access this vehicle with this great step up. And I've always found in all the Aerostars I've had, you know, my 86 and my 93, the door, now they don't always shut, they're a little finicky when they shut sometimes, but the actual action on the track door I've always found to be really, really easy. Like they slide really, really nice. Some older minivans, it's like really hard to slide the door, and for being a pretty heavy door and sliding on a metal track, it seems like it was done right. It was aligned well, and it had good balance to it, and slid really, really nice. So that's just, you know, an aside, but everything in red here. And of course, even your bench seats have armrests on them, which is a nice feature, not like cheaping out. Even your seat belts are red. I mean, the back of your seats are red. Your plastic molding's red. Like everything is red. It's so amazing how, you know, they just went for it with this red interior. And here we are back at the beginning. A big old honking dome light. I like that too. You know, and I'm editing right now a 2002 Camry review. And what I love about it is the headlights are just giant. You know, you might even remember more of that Lexus ES300 or Lexus ES330 from that era, with these just incredibly long, rounded headlights. And, you know, headlights have gotten so tiny now and really aggressive, and lights in general have gotten really, really small. Even like look at a Porsche 911. Everything's LEDs, and they can sort of, you know, squeeze it in there. But cars in general have gotten bigger. So with smaller lights on bigger cars, to me the proportions and the dimensions look kind of weird. So I love this giant dome light here. You know, it's just like, it's big, it's pronounced. And even if it doesn't give off as much light as a newer, smaller dome light might nowadays, I just like it from an aesthetics point of view. I like that it's like this really large feature in there. It seems like a grand chandelier in a fancy hotel or something like that. So, again, the red interior, I mean, the cup holders are red, the dashboard's red, the dashboard door is red, the vents are red. You know, the only thing that didn't get color, the steering wheel's red, was this thing. And this must have been, you know, because you have some electronic components and like that, they couldn't sort of do this red. But I kind of like that it has just a little accent in it, you know. And zooming out from this, like it does, like this could be, you know, a sports car. Like the hue of red, like imagine like an old Porsche 911 with this red interior. It's so cool. Now, yeah, luxury cars did red, you know, like Buicks and Cadillacs did burgundy interiors, but this is just a little bit lighter than those burgundy interiors. It's just a little bit more red in it. And to me, it looks much more like a Porsche red, or maybe a little darker than a Corvette red, but nonetheless, you have your, obviously, power windows. Looks like power locks. So, you know, well equipped with that red steering wheel. And boy, this thing is just an absolute gem. I love that we're seeing some more red interiors popping up. I hope we see more of them. I say that they're super rare, and if they keep popping up, then that'll make me eat my words. By the same token, I'm just glad they're out there, because I would love to have a red interior Aerostar one day. And if this is truly a four-wheel drive as well, with only 132,000 miles on it and only $2,000, I mean, gobble this up now if you are a fan of the Ford Aerostar, because you will be the talk of the town, the envy of your car show, and the belle of the ball, as I said before. So there you have it. Thank you again to Crease Mert for sending me this. Really, really appreciate that. A lot of these things, I don't expect this to last long. I think this will be, everyone thinks I'm crazy for talking about these Aerostars, but the really nice ones, I've started to notice, if you don't get to them within a few days, they're gone. I expect this to sell soon. I may reach out and just see if the seller's interested in a trade. However, in that scenario, they would probably have to drive this thing all the way to New York from Indiana, and I would pass them on the Buick. The Buick has a little issue with the neutral safety switch. It can only be started in neutral. But who knows? Maybe they're into 90s GM. Probably not with all these Fords sitting in the yard. But you never know. So there you have it. Excuse me. Thank you so much for joining us on Year of the Aerostar again. I just had to get this episode recorded because I was afraid this was going to, disappear and vanish back into the wild, as it were. And this is like wildlife photography. You're seeing these glimpses of these majestic creatures that, have been photographed in their natural state, and then they get purchased and they float back out into the wild again. So these are rare and valuable glimpses into the abundant spectacle and just feast for the eyes that is the Ford Aerostar. Thank you so much for joining us. As I've said already, I tend to blather. I should probably just cut these things off sooner. But, I want to convey my appreciation and summarize the experience as a whole. So this has been Year of the Aerostar, episode number 67, here on Janky AF. We thank you so much for watching, and we will see you very soon for another one. And until then, Janky do thanky.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.